Hello and welcome to the Josh Henderson Show. I'm Ben Weinrib.
I'm Cutler Klein. Thanks so much for joining us on a big time in Commodore sports. We're into two sports now. Some big stuff going on in both sports and a big game coming up this Saturday. We'll get to all of that in just a little bit.
We are also featuring our new favorite sport to talk about, and that would be hockey, but we will get there by the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Leading off, Vanderbilt men's basketball had its perhaps biggest win of the year, including that home victory over Texas A&M, which was number 8 at the time, traveling down to Gainesville to take down Florida in a game they really needed to win if they wanted to make the NCAA tournament. And not only did they get their first signature road win of the season, it was a 13-point victory over Florida, a team that is ahead of them, or at least was beforehand, in the SEC.
Absolutely, a very strong win for the Commodores, considering the lackluster game they played against them the first time irked out a 60-59 win. This time they had a much stronger showing. Damian Jones scoring a career-high 27 points. A big night for him. You see with this team a lot that whenever Damian Jones is on his game, he's really something special, and the whole team kind of rallies around him. When he can play those extended minutes and is not in foul trouble, the team flourishes. But when he's in foul trouble, he's on the bench, he's not scoring, he's not having those double-doubles, the team kind of looks not good. Doesn't look very good at all. All I can say is, damn, Damian.
Oh, yeah, there we go. And this was just like the Texas A&M game. He only missed one shot. He's been really incredible in the second half on offense, and it's been a huge help, which sort of lets the shooters on the outside get a little more breathing room since they have to pay extra attention to him and Luke inside at times. That's been a big key for them. Also, Jeff Roberson, who's playing the stretch 4, he's added 18 points and 10 rebounds, an extra great inside presence for the team. He has really come a long way as he's sort of learning how to be a big man.
Exactly. Riley the Chance has kind of dropped off as as a shooting threat for the Commodores, and Roberson, I feel like, has almost taken his place. He's really shot well from the outside, and he's a bigger body and can rebound. A double-double with 18 points and 10 rebounds. A really, really strong game from him.
Yeah, but the real highlight of this for us was the play just before halftime when Josh Henderson gets the blocked shot from Matthew Fisher-Davis, takes it all the way. We'll just let the video speak for itself. Oh, you go, Hendo. That is just beautiful.
I still don't fully understand how exactly that happened.
The ball didn't get that high.
It was not that high. It was a line drive. He just put so much power on it. It was kind of going straight on a line through the air. It wasn't an arc. It didn't look like a normal one. It's from 85 feet from the opposite foul line. And you could even hear the announcers in that case were really flabbergasted at that play. It was making the rounds everywhere today. And I think I saw it on Barstool Sports as well with the caption, simple, "Life changes so fast."
Yeah. It's sort of funny, like if you sort of watch the video, as the ball gets passed down low, his shoulders kind of sulk because like, oh, it's the end of the half. He's just going to dunk. Oh, there's the ball. Whoosh.
Yeah, it was incredible. The funniest part of that play was Wade Baldwin with that block. That was something else to get it started. That's not getting enough credit. If you watch him, he's wide open in the paint. Or that's actually Matthew Fisher-Davis. That's my bad. Fisher-Davis gets up there. He gets up there big time. He's on the blocks when the guy gets the ball. The guy takes one extra step, and he's able to get in there with a massive rejection.
Yeah, that's some pretty big defense from a guy you don't really think of being a big defender. But hey, that's heads-up basketball.
Absolutely. And then afterwards, obviously, Henderson was fired up. And as he was walking off the court, you could see him reach over to a fan and grab what appears to be popcorn. We'll have to zoom in there. Yep, it's unclear. Other fans are blocking it. But it looks like he reaches for something in a fan's hand and puts it in his mouth. It looks like popcorn to me, and it's the athlete's choice popcorn, whether you're Terrell Owens or Josh Henderson.
Oh, of course. Now, is that an impermissible benefit? Is he going to have to be suspended for the rest of the year? To be determined, but keep your eyes out for that one.
That one made the highlight reels as well, perhaps in the not top 10 for SportsCenter. But a big game coming up for the Commodores this Saturday, perhaps the biggest game of the year at home at Memorial Gym against the rival Kentucky Wildcats. Remember last time these two teams met in Lexington, Kentucky, it didn't go so well for the Commodores.
No, it did not. They lost by over 20 points. It was probably the worst game they've played all year. But they really need to close out the regular season by winning 2 of the last 3 games to avoid being in that 14-loss bubble that makes it really hard to make the NCAA tournament. They've got Kentucky at home, they've got Tennessee at home, who they've already beaten heavily on the road, and then traveling to Texas A&M, another big game they could add to their resume. Since 2011, no team with 14 losses has made the NCAA tournament, and since the turn of the century, only 8 teams have done it. So they really need to win at least 2 of the next 3 games.
And I think they can do that. I think if they played the way they played at Florida, certainly, they could get it done. I mean, A&M on the road is probably going to be their toughest test because, well, they beat A&M at home, but they are a much different team at Memorial Gym than they are on the road. I think the Tennessee game is one of the more winnable ones of the 3. Tennessee is not the same team they were last season, not the same team that they were under Bruce Pearl, and you saw that in their first game against Vanderbilt. But Kentucky is the real wild card here. Kentucky, since they played Vanderbilt, has fallen on tough times. They lost to Texas A&M. They're not as high in the rankings as they used to be. So coming into a raucous atmosphere at Memorial Gym where Vanderbilt is just so good, I don't think they've lost at home since LSU in early January, and the first time they lost at home was against Dayton earlier on in the season. So a big game on Saturday. I think it's a winnable one. I don't think anything is guaranteed, especially against the John Calipari Kentucky team, but you never know.
Yeah, SEC tournament after that, which is not at home, but being played in Bridgestone Arena just down the street. They got hopefully have some nice student section presence there.
Perhaps, even though it is over the spring break, hopefully some students will show up on that weekend to support the Commodores. And if they can make a run to the semifinals or even the finals, that's a big tournament resume booster. And of course, if they win the tournament, which I'm not sure they're going to do, they would get that automatic bid.
Yeah. Well, as one basketball team starts going up, we have the women's basketball team that is headed down. They are now 15-12 on the year with a 7-game losing streak, including 4 straight at home. It's been a tough go after we had some promising results early on for this team.
Yep, this team has having a 5th consecutive game against a ranked opponent coming up, so I'm not sure it's going to get better before it gets worse. I mean, I don't know how much worse you can get than a 7-game losing streak, including 4 at home. It seems like the home court advantage that the men's team holds, the women's team can't seem to find at Memorial Gym.
Yeah, the good news, though, with Mississippi State being the next opponent on Thursday, is that they are 19-2 all-time against Mississippi State, including wins in the last 5 games. So let's hope there's some, magic that we can, sprinkle on that game.
Perhaps. And, all of this 7-game losing streak is really leading to a lot of speculation within the organization about the safety of head coach Melanie Balcom's job. I mean, there was a report that David Williams said they were going to reevaluate both her position and Kevin Stallings' position with the men's team at the end of the season. We'll see. I feel like now if the men's team is turning it around, that Stallings might have a slightly safer job, but Balcom, if this continues, she's been here almost as long as Stallings has. I'm not so sure her job is going to be all that safe at the end of the season.
Yeah, but as we mentioned earlier, we got a second sport also to talk about. Baseball opened up their season last Friday, sweeping the San Diego Toreros, almost call them the Toros. A great 3-game series, put up a ton of runs, headlined by Jaron Kendall, the sophomore who was named the Louisville Slugger National Player of the Week. He goes 10 for 15 with 3 home runs, 5 steals, 10 RBIs, added 2 more steals in Tuesday's win. This guy looks like he is going to be the successor to Dansby Swanson as the best player on the team.
Yeah, seriously, Jaron Kendall is good. He had 2 home runs in the opening game against San Diego. He just looks really good. Last season he had a lot of good plays as well, but this season it looks like now that Dansby Swanson is out of the picture in the majors, he's really going to be stepping it up to make sure that the Commodores keep that power threat going. And another guy that I want to talk about is Alonzo Jones, the freshman coming in, hit his first home run in this series against San Diego. This guy is fast. If you thought Roll Coleman was fast, just take a look at Alonzo Jones busting it to first base. He has power, he has speed, and I think he's really going to be something special down the road for the Commodores.
Yeah, there's not too much power on this team, but a ton of speed between those 2 guys and Kendall, and pretty much everyone is at least average speed. One guy also that we've got to be excited about is Kyle Smith, who is really just a great story. One of 2 seniors still on the team, had a great freshman year, but then between the end of his sophomore year and the end of his junior year, goes 0 for 47. Looks like he may have it again. He starts on the opening series going 4 for 9, hits 2 home runs, and also brought up 6 walks. If he can be a force in the middle of this lineup, he will bring some much-needed power, and it is always great to see this from a senior bringing it all back together after a great freshman year.
Absolutely. The 0 for 47 streak was kind of unfortunate for him, but I think he's really picking it up, and I think he could be another force to be reckoned with. The big storyline I saw out of this weekend and the games following it was the pitching staff. The Commodores have a very, very young pitching staff. One of the oldest ones on that staff is a redshirt sophomore in Jordan Sheffield, and he pitched really, really well in his really first start as a Commodore. He was in more of a relief role last season. But I think that he, along with a lot of the other young guys like Maddox Conger, are really going to carry this staff. The biggest question mark going into this season was how these young pitchers would fare in a rigorous role. And I think some of them are going to take it on quite well.
Yeah, some of the good news we also saw was some of the injuries that we thought we were going to just shortchange the pitching staff maybe aren't as serious as we thought. Kyle Wright, we thought would be out about 3 weeks. He gets to start on Sunday, albeit only going 2 innings. And we also have Hayden Stone, who we thought was going to be out for like a month or two, still coming back from Tommy John surgery. He throws an inning on Sunday too, and his velocity's up from before the injury.
Yep, big time relief appearances for the two of them. That probably only happened because the games were not that close this weekend against San Diego. They probably were able to throw them in late in the game, give them a little test run, almost the equivalent of throwing a simulated inning or a simulated game to try and rehab. I think it's good to see those guys back, and it's a long season. The College World Series doesn't happen until late June if they can even get there. So these guys, if they can keep up with their recovery and get a more extended innings in this season, the Vanderbilt pitching staff should be just fine.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, instead of our new favorite game, we have our new favorite sport to cover, and that, Cutler, is Vanderbilt Club Ice Hockey.
Yes, indeed. Vanderbilt Club Ice Hockey has been around for 40 or so years. Never been to the ACHA Club National Tournament. This year, they're doing just that. This weekend, they won the ACHA D3 South Regionals to make the national tournament for the first time ever. They beat Georgia 5-3 in the championship game of that regional to make it there. That's really something because they had been shut out by Georgia the 2 previous times, thanks to some stellar play from their goaltender, Andrew Bray, who was really a force to be reckoned with in the net, stopped almost all the shots he faced in the SEC tournament. Vanderbilt had finished 4th in the SEC thanks to losing to Georgia in the semifinals and then losing the 3rd place game by 1 measly goal to Arkansas. But this team looked really, really strong at regionals. They were a bit shortchanged. A few players stuck around campus. Like I said, this is a club team. They stuck around campus to go to dance marathon. But some big guys, some older guys stepped up. Jack Gibbons had the game-winning shorthanded goal as senior. And the big story of this one was Ryan Kellenberger, the goaltender, 48 saves to beat Georgia 5-3. He is something else. In talking to other people that have seen him play, he really looks like a linebacker in the net. He's such a big body. He can make a lot of the different saves, and he was big making those 48 stops. And that is something you don't see a lot in college hockey, much less in the NHL. The 48 saves is a big number, and it really helped them along. And it's a big deal for this team to be going to nationals. Like I said, 40 years have never been. And now they'll be traveling to Grand Rapids, Michigan to take on the best of the D3 country at the ACHA Nationals.
Yeah, exciting stuff for a program that wasn't looking so good not too long ago, but we'll have to keep you posted after Nationals.
Absolutely. This program was really down in the dumps about 5 or 6 years ago. They were canceling on road games, not making road trips because of a few players, and were being threatened to be kicked out of the SEC out of the SEC conference. But now they hosted the SEC tournament, going to host it again at Fordyce Center for the next 3 years. This team has nowhere to go but up.
Yeah. Well, for Cutler Klein, Colin Zimmerman, Amanda Marco Tullio, and the rest of us here at View Sports Wired, we will see you guys next week, hopefully with another win against Kentucky. Have a great rest of your week.